Well, welcome back everybody. We're springtime 2024 and we're back in the planar Cordon demo block for the Narrow Orchard Systems project. I'm here with Jeremy Smart, who owns Tingara Orchard, and we've made a few decisions over the winter months about what we're going to be doing in here, and we've decided on our vertical training system. And as you can see in the background there, it's bamboo canes for us. And the reason why we've decided to go that way is that it gives us a defined position for each of the verticals that we're going to be training in here. And then it makes it easier for sending people through who are doing the training to know exactly where to place that vertical, so that every upright's going to have its own space to grow in and produce fruit in, which I think is important. Anyway, so what Jeremy's doing at the moment is putting out the last of the bamboo canes. What we're using here, this white piece of conduit, is something we got from Ian Goodwin at Tatura Research Station in Victoria, and it's just a simple way when you're putting these bamboo canes in to mark the positions at the 30 centimetre spacings, but from the centre of the tree to centre of tree, and it just makes it easier to make sure the canes are going in the right spot. And all that is a bit of conduit with a few hooks on it and a bit of black insulation tape to mark the positions, and the end of the posted lines with the centre of each tree. So yeah, pretty handy device for keeping things on the straight and narrow. So while Jeremy's putting some clips out here, I was hoping he might sort of talk to us a little about what his thoughts are with the bamboo canes and these clips, and you got some thoughts on that, Jeremy?
Yeah, so I actually like the idea so much that in our newest block, which we've gone to twin leaders, I've sort of using the same technique. Again, the simplicity of having the structure already there for tree training to make it easier for any worker to come along and put the uprights exactly where they need to be.
Yep.
As well as, you know, when you get that growth throughout the season that doesn't quite make it, you've got something to keep that nice and straight rather than having it bend over or potentially lose.
I mean, and you had some thoughts about the cost of doing this as opposed to just say using string. Yeah, what's your opinion there?
Well, I think the overall, like the outcome with that was that the string was just too much variability. It could slide across the wire. When putting them in, you know, you could pull your wires a bit too close either way. It could change the tension. So it was just, even though this may cost a little bit more, I haven't exactly done the full cost on it, but I imagine the cost of actually running that string, you know, with labour the way it is too, that's pretty, it's going to be up there.
Hugely different in the end, but this is,
I think
same reason I like this system is that it's fixed. Once you put those clips in, the bamboo doesn't move, and you know where your verticals are going to be trained. And these systems are formal systems, so you know they really need to be set up properly.
Exactly, from the get-go.
Yeah, cool.
Right.
One of the other decisions we've made is in regard to what fasteners we're going to use to attach the cordon to the trellis system. At the beginning we started playing with some of the spaghetti twine, the green spaghetti twine that's fairly commonly used for tree training. And then we sort of progressed to trying the vine clips, which we had used earlier around the trunks of the trees to keep them vertical. But where we've ended up is, and what seems to be working quite well, is the rubber bands with the little arrowheads that you can wrap around the stem and the trellis or the bamboo to hold it in place. It's quick to deploy, and the rubber actually seems to grip on the surface that you attach it to, whether it be the wire or the bamboo, and prevent the branch from moving from where you've placed it. So here's an example of a tree that both cordons had reached the right length by the end of last season, so they've been laid down. And just to show you how we've used the rubber bands to attach the cordon there to the wire, and then as we move out, another attachment point there on the bamboo, and similar on the other side, one to the wire to get our angle set, and then another couple on the bamboo there to hold the hold the cordon at the angle that we want, which is slightly elevated from horizontal. There's different thoughts on this, but some people who we're taking advice from believe that having a slight angle on these upwards helps drive growth where you want it in the cordon, out to the tips initially, and then we can work on the verticals from closer to the angle here, and maybe select shoots are going to be less vigorous that close to the trunk. So next to that tree there's one here which had one cordon that had made length, and we've tethered that in the same way using the rubber bands. But the other cordon hadn't made length, and what we've decided, following the Pips Narrow Orchards roadshow in Batlow and some discussions we had, rather than leaving that cordon that hadn't made length in a more or less vertical position at the start of this season, we're actually starting to pull that down now, but not to the full final angle. And the hope is there that will be enough of an upright angle to keep the tip growing, but also to stimulate some of these buds, so that when we do get to the right length and we can pull it down, that there's already some activity there for our verticals. So that's about it for our first spring update from the Batlow planar cordon demo block. We'll put up another update in a month or so, I think, when we start to get some growth on these cordons, and we have the fun job of starting to select our verticals and attach those to the bamboo. So stay tuned for that, and we'll catch you in the next update. Bye for now.